Good morning, everyone. This is episode 1 of Blueprint. Today, I actually wanted to start off this podcast series by bringing in a newfound friend in the industry, Antonio Perez with Bear Financial. And as for those that don't know, my name is George Barrientos. I'm with Right Away Lending. I'm also a loan officer here in Arizona. Antonio, man, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you for having me, man.
Yeah, one of the things, the reason that I asked you to be on this is you're one of the first loan officers that I came across since I left Consumer Direct and I went on into my own that was like super opening and inviting. And you actually had me come out to some of your events. You're like, yeah, come on, there's plenty of business, there's plenty of fish in the sea. And I really appreciated that a lot. And I was like, you know what, that's pretty cool because a lot of people as in this industry are not like that at all. So that was like, it caught me off guard, but I thought it was really cool. And I told myself in the future, we're going to collab. I'm going to start a podcast and I'm one of the first people I asked to jump on. So thanks for coming on.
No problem, man. Thank you for having me. And yeah, the sun comes out for everybody, man. My parents always raised me with, if you can help somebody without expecting anything in return, do it. Everything will work out eventually. And somebody helped me at some point in my career making the launch because I came from Consumer Direct myself. And when I decided to make the jump into the broker world or the wholesale side,
Right.
Somebody helped me and I learned from somebody and it was just a way of paying it forward.
No, I agree. I think givers gain always. And that kind of leads to the first thing that I wanted to jump into is a little bit of your origin story, man. I know it's floating around on social media, but just for those that don't know you, and my audience, tell me a little bit about how you got into the business or what led you into.
I actually started at the age of 16 and a half. I used to play competitive soccer, first generation in the U.S., and my mom is very hardcore Mexican.
Okay.
Mexican roots, Mexican foundation, and she was like, you need to go to school and you need to be the first graduated of our family. And I was like, no, Mom, I have my career set. I'm going to be a professional soccer player. I'm going to play sports. And because my dad played very competitive soccer, so I was going to follow on his footsteps. And long story short, I ended up getting hurt. I ended up going down the wrong path. Back then, I didn't know what depression was. So I guess I was depressed. I was mad. I threw all my trophies away. I want nothing to do with the sport. And I was hanging out with the wrong crowd. Born and raised in Bell Gardens, California. Those who know Bell Gardens.
I'm actually from Bell Gardens.
Born and raised there. And I was hanging out with the wrong people. And my mom was like, no, we didn't come to this country for you to go down the wrong path. She reached out to my cousin, now compadre, Manuel Rodriguez. You're like, take this dude, go work with them, figure something out, show him what you do. And I started telemarketing with him. I was telemarketing. I would go to the office. I would not go. I would go. Typical 16-year-old. But one day something clicked and I was able to connect sports into mortgages and have the same drive, have the same desire. Right. And from that day on, I made it a mission to move forward and learn the industry. At the age of 18, I graduated high school and my parents were like, all right, you graduated high school, go to college. And I was like, no, I have a career. I am good at what I do. I love helping people. And that's how I got started. Fast forward to now, I stuck through it. I did go to college. I made my mom proud, but that wasn't my path. I did both. It took me years to finish, but I finished. And now I love what I do. I love helping people. I feel like I don't work a day in my life, even though I'm the hardest working person in my mind, because I don't like leaving any stone unturned for our clients, for our community, and for our business partners at the end of the day.
And that's actually, I can attest to that, being a competitor, but also being real. I see you on the gram, I see you on Facebook, and you're up till 11 o'clock sometimes setting out pre-approvals. You're you're going to your clients' closings in a different state. You're traveling. You live in Maricopa, right?
Yeah.
I always see you just going to all these closings. I'm like, damn, that actually motivates me and it gets me into this headspace. Like when I'm feeling tired or I'm feeling negative or I'm feeling down, can I do more? Am I doing more? Am I actually doing what I need to do? Am I actually pushing myself? And then seeing those things, those examples, I'm like, okay, definitely can do. I definitely can do a little bit more, go a little further, push a little harder. Because if you've been in this game how long?
Since 2002 as a telemarketer, but like on as a lender, 2004.
You've been in the game since 2004, and you're still doing those things. It's insane.
Yeah. The other day, somebody reached out to me and they're like, how long have you been in the industry? And I told them, he was like, why do you show up to closings? Why do you give closing gifts? Those are for rookies. I turned, I smirked at him. I was like, you know why I do it? Because I'm a rookie at heart. And I'm never going to stop being a rookie at heart. Because the person across the phone from me, the person across from me is a person, is not just a number. It's a family that work hard to get to this point, and they should be blessed and they should be congratulated at the end of their journey, or at the beginning of their new journey, I should say.
Wow. I love that, man. To be honest, I was one of those guys up until recently where I'm like, I don't really need to go to it or not take it serious enough. But I think my opinion on that has started to change recently, and just hearing that, that's inspiring. That actually makes a ton of sense. And I'm sure that means a lot with with your clients, especially in the future. And I'm sure they feel a lot better about referring their friends and family, potentially doing a second or third deal with.
No, yeah, most definitely. And I do post a lot of my closings online, and it's not for clout or for brag. It's just more because I do work with a lot of first-time homeowners or first generation in the U.S. that they feel buying a house, they need to hide it from their family, or they need to keep it exclusive because they don't want to brag, or they don't want to be like, oh, I did it and you didn't. So by me posting it and sharing it, like some of them do share it on their page, but it's not coming from them. So I feel it helps them bring it out without them are the ones bringing it out and feeling something. That's the only reason why I post it, because if it wasn't for that, if it was like, I wouldn't do it for clout.
Gotcha. That makes sense, man. On that subject, so obviously that means a lot to you, right? Helping people, especially our people, raza, as we call it sometimes, and first gen, second gen, people get into their houses. But what are some of the things that have helped you maintain that level of motivation or drive, or discipline, I should say? Been in the game since 2004, it's 2023, and you're still doing all the fundamental things to maintain your business.
My drive, to be honest with you, is my family. I have a beautiful 15-year-old daughter now. I have a 3-year-old daughter. I'm a girl dad. My wife, she's my rock. She's my everything. Honestly, I think she has the hardest job. She stays home. She raises our girls, and she has to put up with me. What I mean by that is whenever I have to be out, whenever I have to go somewhere, like I know I could count that our girls are going to be taken care of, our household is going to be taken care of. And when I come home, it's home. So greatly thank her for that. And that's what drives me on a daily basis. I want to be able to set the foundation for my daughters to take over. We went to New York for my daughter's 15th birthday. And as we were walking in Central Park, my daughter turns and looks at me and says, Dad, I've always told you I want to either be a pediatrician or a vet, I'm always changing it on you. But what if I'm a mortgage broker? And then I was like, are you sure you want to do this? I was like, are you sure you want to answer your phone on a daily basis? Are you sure you want to carry your laptop everywhere you go? And then she was like, All I'm sure about is that I just want to help as many families as possible. And that was a very proud moment for me. And if she decides to move into the brokerage world or into the mortgage world, I would help her, I would guide her, but she has to do it for the right reason, for being to help. So I feel by having these conversations, I feel that I'm going in the right way and doing the right thing. That's my motivation at the end of the day. I know it was a lengthy answer, but my family is my motivation.
That's fire, man. No, I could appreciate that. I'm a girl dad myself. My daughter's 5, so I got a ways to go, but and my son's 8. They definitely ask me a lot of questions already. Why are you always bringing your laptop with? Why are you always taking calls? We're hiking. Why are you? And it's one of those things where I'm like, I don't know what the right answer is, but I just tell them, like, there's people out there that need, and if I don't pick up the phone, there's a chance that they might not be able to get into a house, and I want, how that feels. Yeah, no, like, it's awesome. So I respect that a lot, dude. That's awesome. With currently, you know how the market is. It's been interesting. Depending on who you talk to, you're gonna hear a different answer. How has it been for you? Like, how has the switch up in the marketplace, in the interest rates, in the inventory, how has that impacted or helped or both your business?
The market obviously has changed. We're at a point where the interest rates are at the all-time high or the second all-time high. And interest rates, at the end of the day, they're just a number. It's just how you break it down. And I come from, when I started in this industry, rates were in the 7s, 8s, the subprime market. So the interest rates are in front of us. Yes, they're high, but they're obtainable. Everybody needs a home. If you're paying rent, you're paying 100% versus 6%, 7%, 5%, whatever it is at the time that this podcast comes out. But what I've been doing, and I learned this at a company, I'm not going to mention the name of the company, but if you've been around, you'll know, where numbers and money follow, they don't lead. And you know what I'm talking about. And I take that to heart because, so that's how I conduct business. I partner up with people that have the same drive, that have the same mindset, where we just want to help families, where we want to move forward. I know right now on social media, you see a lot of bank statement loans, I-10 loans, this type of loan, down payment assistance. In my opinion, those are a lot of hooks to get people's attention, to bring a lot of clients in the door, which is good if you deep inside you believe in the product and deep inside you want to help and move forward, versus just flood your doors with opportunities that you're not going to be able to help because you don't believe it up in the heart, and trying to switch it to the next deal. And when you do that, in my opinion, like, you're just making yourself busy with busy work instead of helping. So I stayed consistent with my marketing. I stayed consistent with the programs that I believe in, that I wholeheartedly believe that I can help families. And that's where I do my marketing. That's where I help agents do their marketing. I don't want realtors to do my job, but at the end of the day, I do want to teach them to pre-screen. That way they know how it could go from a prospect to a closed transaction, or even a prospect to a lead to a pre-approval, because everybody wants to buy a house, but not everybody could buy a house right now. And we need to be able to distinguish that. So that's what's helped me grow my business, sustain my business. I do want to help everybody, but everybody in their due time.
It sounds to me, and I don't want to say things that you didn't say, but it sounds to me like you've doubled down on everything in your business, your marketing, your referral partners, like investing in your referral partners. Talk a little bit about that. When a lot of people, right now, we're kind of in an interesting time where the good are becoming great, the hungry are becoming known, and everyone else is jumping ship. A lot of people are scared. It's a fear-based market right now. There's a lot of false information going around. There's not a lot of people that are educated on what's actually happening, how things actually work. Talk a little bit about that. It's such a uncertain time, have you doubled down or tripled down on your business?
Attention is a new currency. And I tell my agents, or the agents that I work with, they are my business partners at the end of the day. And I do mention to them, I don't want to be that lender that reaches out to you on Monday morning. Hey, how did your open house go? Or, hey, do you have leads for me? Or, hey, how can I help you? And then you don't have anything and you don't hear from me until Monday morning.
Right.
Like, where I want to come in is I want to pour myself into your business, help you with your marketing, help you with your branding. I do have a full team behind me of marketing that allows me to remove the thinking for our agents. So that's a way that I can help you grow your business. Where social media, the hardest thing to do on social media is think what your next post is going to be. Where we try to sit down, have a one-on-one conversation of what you believe in, what your niche is, and then we tailor a marketing plan for you. That way you could start posting on a daily basis or more constant basis and have that attention, because that attention is going to create the clients, the referrals. Raving referrals, like raving clients bring raving referrals at the end of the day. So I have doubled down on that side and just try to niche that side of the market, where instead of focusing on investing in my business, I'm investing into growing my business partner's business, just for my business to have a shot of growing. So that's where I've doubled down, and that's where I feel I'm reaping in a little bit of the rewards of the success, to the point that we had to hire 2 assistants because we're growing tremendously right now. And I love answering my phone when you call me. Full transparency, I don't always answer my phone, but I do return all my calls on the same day or by the end of the business day. And that's why you see me sometimes at 11 o'clock at night doing the...
Yes. No, I love that, man. That's awesome. And that's super inspirational to me. You're a seasoned vet. You've been in this game a lot longer than I am. And I'm on the up and trying to get to where you're already been. And that's huge for me. For any new LO that is either transitioning from that consumer direct model that we both come from, or just that person that is thinking about getting into the business, what are some things that you would say to those people?
If you're considering getting into this business or going from direct to the broker world to our world, I believe that you should be part of a team. You should have a mentor. You should be part of a structured team, because they're going to help you. They're going to guide you. They're going to move you in the right direction. When you're stuck, they're going to help you get unstuck. But do your due diligence and make sure that the team is there for you and you guys are a mesh. What you don't want to do is go from direct lending to brokerage or to wholesale on your own, because the learning curve is very huge. Just because we work with 100 lenders maybe?
Right.
That's 100 different systems that we have to learn.
Instead of guidelines,
Rams. Yeah. And, I could go 600 with this one, but this one I can't. And you need to know all those guidelines, and you need to have somebody in your corner that could help you with that. So when I initially started, I started in a team and grew my way into the team. Now I'm business partners with the person that got me into business. So now we have our own team together and growing our team. And if you're already in that stage, don't grow your team just for growth. You want to be able to give back. You want to be able to sustain your team and be able to give them what you promised, because reputation, we only have one in this life. Once you break it, it's done. There's no way of going back on it.
I can agree with that, man. And when I made the transition 2 years ago, one of my mentors told me, and this is always going to stick, and I want your take on it. He was telling me, it doesn't matter where you work at, it matters who you work with.
That's
huge.
100%. Yeah. I believe that if you strongly agree and have the same vision, if you work hard for that vision, for the name in the front of your shirt, everybody's going to know the name at the end in the back of the shirt. And I refer this to sports all the time, because if you work for your organization, if you work for your team, everybody is going to know who you are at the end of the day without you saying me.
I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that I see newer people do, or the people that are just transitioning, is they see the big fancy name at the top, and we all know who they are, right? We're not going to throw any names out there, but they get so caught up in, I'm going to go here. And what they don't know is when you go to a place just for the name and you have no relationships within that name, you're doing a disservice to yourself more times than not, because what people don't understand is you get put on an island in almost any situation that you go to. Going back to that point, I think it's so critical to go to become a part of a team that is already established, that you already have a relationship built, that are going to be there to have your back and to support you and to not do the work for you, but to guide you. If you want to zig, they tell you to zag. And I think that's very critical, especially at the beginning of your journey.
No, yeah, most definitely. And to piggyback on your comment, and my team members will tell you this, I'll let you struggle. If you come and ask me a question on a guideline or on something, I'll be like, okay, so tell me what's your answer? What did you figure out? Because if I give you the answer, it's going to be easy for you to just reach out to me and get an answer and forget about it. But now it comes to the point where, hey, I went into the guidelines, I read this and this. This is my interpretation of it. Am I right or am I wrong? And then I could sit down and break it down for you. That's what a team should look like, where you give the support, but you also teach them how to gain their own knowledge.
Absolutely. What's been one of the biggest obstacle or adversity or challenge that you've faced in your career to this point?
I was in the point where I was growing my real estate database.
Okay.
And I was in green time growth mode, where work with more agents, work with more agents, work with more agents. Everything's going to fall into place. Where it got to the point where I wasn't servicing my clients. I wasn't servicing the agents, the network that I was creating. So my image, for a lack of a term, was getting spotty, because you're like, oh, he doesn't answer the phone, or he doesn't call me back, or whatever the case may be. So I learned that not to grow just to grow. And that's why that stuck with me. So right now, yes, I will work with new agents. Yes, I want to continue growing my business with new agents, but I have to have the foundation to do so. That was my biggest struggle in the industry, and acknowledging to not grow just to grow is what helped me push in my own mind to the next level. And when you're at the highest point, just remember that you're about to hit the lowest point of the next level.
Love that. And you know what's funny? It's funny that you say that, because I've actually, if I'm being totally honest, have found myself in that predicament over the past few months, as I've seen my business go to another level or two. And it's not the same as before, when you were getting 10 to 15 calls a day. When things change and you go from 10 to 15 calls to 30 to 50 to sometimes 100 calls in a day, holy, what is happening? It's hard to I hate to say things fall by the wayside, but I'm only one person and every single conversation requires its time. If you get 100 calls in a day and you're only able to and you have 20 conversations, unfortunately, some of those calls are going to have to be made following day or the day after. And that's one of the pain points that I've had in my business, not even been growing. It's just been growing too soon, and not having that infrastructure in place, to the point where I said, you know what, I need to take a few steps back and reevaluate everything and bring some people into my circle and learn how to delegate and actually learn how to run a business versus and work on the business instead of in the business and have those people in place to support me. So that's great that you bring that up because that's something that I'm actually going through right now. How have you been able to overcome that since?
I just putting my head down, trying to grow my team. A lot of in our industry, obviously, we do this for a living. This is how we feed our families, and the more people that are in the team, the more hands that you have to divvy up your earnings.
Right.
But the one thing that we can't leverage is time. That's the one thing that we will never get back, time. And so that's where I feel like I matured on the business side because it was more like, I don't care about this, like time,
Right.
let's go. And now is I do want to have time. I want to get time to service everybody and for everybody that's across from me or on the phone with me, feel that's you're my only client. You're my only business partner. You're my only referral. Because yes, I may have one other one or 100 other ones, but I want you to feel that importance that it's just you and I in this moment. And that's how I feel that I've been growing, helping growing, and it's still on learning experience because I still make mistakes nowadays.
No, that's good stuff, man. Coming into this, I had an idea of the things that I wanted to ask you, and I wanted to get more into the technicalities of some things, but I'm hearing the story. I'm over here in a position of a student, listening, soaking in. I'm like, dang, this is money. I'm going to apply a lot of this stuff in my personal business, and I'm really thankful that you came on. I know we can probably go on for hours, man, but I just wanted to let's end it here and want to thank you for coming on and sharing a little bit about your story and how you've overcame a lot of these adversities and how you continue to have sustainable success. So thanks, man. I really appreciate it.
No problem, man. Thank you for having me. And my answers typically go on a tangent, so sorry about that. It always comes from the heart, man. And if you're out there and you want to grow a business, if you want to do something with your life, just move forward, believe, set the foundation, and make it happen.
What else is there to say, man? LOs can be friends. Thank you, man. I appreciate it, bro.